Let's start the meeting and let's call it to order. Roll call, Jill.
Agnes Barnarski,
Present.
Dana Syvertson,
Here.
Pete Hahn,
Here.
John Comish,
Here.
Ed Madden. Ed,
Here,
you're present, okay. Seth Marcus,
Here.
I'm Jill Moskel, all are present and we have a quorum.
Okay. Let's have approval of the minutes of the board meeting of September 10th.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes as Jill has so beautifully crafted them.
I second.
Dana.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Minutes approved. Okay. Old business, volunteer workdays and seed collection Wednesdays. So we've had very successful turnout recently for our volunteer workdays and also our seed collection Wednesdays. So we've collected, I'm not going to say a ton of seed, but we've collected a lot of seed so far. We have our next workday. I think maybe we can try to go back to the ComEd seeded Prairie where we held our last workday, just to try to get a little bit more of the west side. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, it's sort of my report that I didn't submit. Jill, everyone else has submitted written reports except Agnes and I. Are you filing those with the minutes or
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, so we'll make a report on that.
Okay.
But the next one, the bottom line, what she just asked about the workday, I would highly recommend that we have the next workday at the ComEd Prairie on that far west end, and this is part of my report, where everything is so pure and so short, and it's almost like a gravel prairie. I thought it was free and clear until I walked around to the very west end, and there's like a 2-foot intrusion along that west border of Canada goldenrod. So we want to be sure to get that out of there right away. But there's nothing in the middle. It's clean as a whistle. So.
Any comments?
Yeah, you should mention this, the Poplar Creek here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's down in new business, I think.
Okay.
Right? So we'll mention it later on. Okay. Then,
How is the east side of the ComEd Prairie? How is that?
It has the highest concentration of Canada goldenrod by far. There's a lot more work to do over there. And this also segments into the issue of burns under beyond new business.
Okay.
We just got confirmation from Stantec tonight and Sarah Race that we're on the schedule for this fall to burn that and the remnant prairie. So that's great news, and that'll certainly go a long way towards corralling that east side there. But that one little triangle in the front, I guess I'm making my report now. That one little triangle in the front that just really touches Elmhurst Road that we've sort of never claimed and no one has claimed, and now it's sort of self-naturalizing. We really need to concentrate on that this year, especially with the burning and putting down seed this time around. That area should be as nice as the sign on Elmhurst Road for Walton Park. So, you know, that's something I think I recommend that we pick up and sort of work with in earnest. Otherwise, you know, we had the big cattle repair roundup there over the summer. So that's not as bad as it was, but it's just more of the same. You know, we've got to get burned through there, and then as soon as we do, we got to put down seed and seed and
Fuel.
seed and seed and seed.
and that's why, I mean, this is a segue into the new business about Poplar Creek Prairie seed collection, but we were hoping to get a lot of Indian grass from those 2 days to put down seed at the ComEd Prairie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Prospect Heights Public Library and our district events.
The fall bird walks are over. Jill's gift was extremely well received. It was just a really nice touch, and Mary Lou is really impressed with it. So kudos to Jill. That's a nice thing.
It's from all of us.
Yes, but basically, Jill's great doing there. Mary Lou has committed for the spring bird walks, and they're going to be paralleling close to what we normally do the dates. So whatever the Saturdays are surrounding the dates that we've been doing for the last 5 years, that's what we'll put down. Mary Lou is fine with that. So that'll be the start of the 6th year. The ComEd Prairie Tour. There was some confusion there. The announcements that we sent out gave the right location to come to start the tour. The instructions from the park district, though, had it for some odd reason
To go to Morava.
go to Morava Center, and it would start there. So I don't know if that impacted the turnout that greatly, but we did have 2 people who actually called us from Morava Center to say that what's going on, and we waited for them to catch up. So we had, I think, 4 people total, but it was very productive. It was, they got a lot of information on it. They really appreciated it. I don't know why those things are always slow turnout. I'd like to see more people there, but we'll take whatever we can get. And Nature Speaks, we have Gavin coming up in October, and Dr. Talmy in November. Gavin is a daytime. It's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, something like that. Seth pointed out to me that there's a difference in what the library is saying and what my announcement is saying. And there was some confusion there in the handoff when they were closing the library down, and they were in transition between the 2 people that are working it. So it'll be straightened out. And I believe it's noon, but we'll see. So we'll take care of that one. And then Illinois Prairie Week, we wrapped it up with all the events, and another one on the books. So that's it for old business, unless anyone has questions, comments, or anything.
Okay. All right. The new business, Hillcrest Lake update. So we planted many more plugs along the area, and John has been watering, and then we've come out with the tank and watered. It's looking great. I think everything's really taking, Seth and I were there just this past Wednesday, and we planted many more plugs, and then we watered. It just looks great, I think. I don't know if, John, you wanted to add something to it.
Just a question about watering. So with fall coming, things get drier and everything. So do we water until like the freeze comes, or what? How long do we water for?
Yeah, I think we should water while the vegetation's still green, especially if it's still flowering.
Yeah.
So, yes, until the first freeze,
Okay.
or if we don't have any rain. Can you put that in there, please?
Yeah, just a second. I'm looking something up.
My only other comment about Hillcrest Lake, and this is I became aware of after the Nature Speaks tree talk, was that 2 of those bur oaks out in front have staghorning and look pretty sickly. So I'm not sure if we have something we can do to help those trees at this point, because they, according to that talk, I mean, they will be lost eventually if we don't do something about it. And then hopefully they don't spread to the other trees that are there, they look okay right now. But they're not far away.
The city has an arborist. Could we not tap into his expertise?
I think that's a great idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, Yeah, those trees, I think a lot of them are white oak, the ones that were planted. I think the city probably planted them,
Yes.
but they really, what I've seen over the past few years, there's really no care or maintenance to those trees. I know someone tried to pull one straight up, but yeah, you really have to take care of those trees. You know, mulching and trimming out the dead wood would really help. And now, you know, if they start to get weak, fertilizing, and with that oak wilt disease, if they're going to treat them, that has to be looked at, you know, by the arborist. But, you know, talking about watering, I know, John, I think you've been watering them from your house. And I just wonder, as we move further from your house, how are we going to water adequately those plants? I think.
Yeah, so we have, well, we got the portable tank that's out of Dana and Agnes's car. They've been watering the, you know, by the shore restoration area there. And then for the future, I mean, other neighbors have volunteered their spigots. Should we need them as we move along on the project? I think we'll know more once the thing kind of unfolds. Yeah, my hose can't reach too much farther at this point.
No. Yeah, and I was thinking, you know, if some neighbors don't want to cooperate, I know it's a lot for Agnes and Dana's to do with, you know, trucking water down. If some way we could get a commercial pump from the village to borrow it or whatever to pump right out of the lake. I mean, as we move down, you know, further and further, it would be so easy. So long as the lake doesn't have any herbicides that would kill plant life. So, but
I thought of that too. So, you know, but I was thinking, you know, like an electric pump, but clearly we would need some kind of gas-powered pump to do that. I don't know if the city has that or not.
Well, I think you know, the turbo rain works really well. So we have a 120-gallon tank in the back of the van. We fill it up and we pull up to wherever we're going. We have a 50-foot hose and we turn on the pump and we just stand there and water everything so it's fully saturated. So, you know, it's for what, 4 years now, it's worked fine for any remote location, wherever. So I certainly have no objections to doing that. It's not like you have to do this with every group of plants every single year. It's just that first year where things really, really need to be watered. And then the second year, it's pretty much can leave them alone. So far it's worked out okay. One other thing I'd like to toss in here.
Well, let me just mention too that, for instance, when we seed,
Stop it.
when we seed certain areas, all right, I'm gonna take them out of the room.
Yeah.
When we seed certain areas, that doesn't need to be watered. So certain areas that have been herbicided over there, we're gonna put down seed in those areas, and they will not need to be watered in the spring. It's only the plugs that we grow in the greenhouse and that we manually install that need the water.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'd like to add to this segment here. To date, we've put in 4,883 plugs between the shoreline restoration and the pilot plantings where John's house is. Volunteer hour-wise, I can give you a breakdown on just the project. It was over 250 something to year to date. Surprisingly, we're up to 1,110 hours of volunteer time. That excludes all the time that Agnes spent with the interns. So we'll add that in as a lump sum, but those are still pretty good numbers.
That's tremendous.
So
Well, I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can contact the city arborist about those trees and see if there's any action that can be done on that.
exactly, because I think we need a diagnosis, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he's unable to help, I use Tracy with Davy Trees. I'm willing to pay for him to, you know, if the city allows it. If our arborist can't help, I could always send him over.
Okay. Is someone talking?
Not here.
Probably my wife in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, prescribed burns and the permit renewals. The permits have all been approved by the EPA. City Council and the Park District have both approved our burn program. So all we're waiting for now is the right weather, the right conditions, and off we go.
Anybody have anything to say about that? Peter, so yeah, so we're ready to burn when the weather is good. So probably we need a couple of hard frosts first. And we'll have more on that. Okay. Let's move on then. Site monitoring reports from the commissioners. Any questions?
Well, I did not receive reports on the slough, Heron Pond, and Remnant Prairie, so if that could be provided for the minutes, it'd be
I
great.
sent you that, Jill.
Yeah, I got John's copy of it.
Oh, okay. When did you send it? Today?
No, like about an hour after you sent that email.
Yeah.
Really?
Right away. No.
Okay, I'll double check.
I'll put mine in for the comment, Prairie. Agnes has got to do the
I'll
slough,
do
so
the
tell us
slough.
about the slough.
Well, I mean, the slough is looking pretty good, I think. I mean, there's a lot of woody vegetation that's coming back, buckthorn in certain areas. I think that would be very good for a couple of work days. But a lot of people have been using the trail system. You know, I see people out there all the time. So the path has actually been has been
Etched into the landscape.
right. I mean, you can see that foot traffic has actually created the path now, whereas it doesn't need any more maintenance. And we were walking along with the interns and with Seth, and I thought it looked pretty good. It definitely needs a burn. It needs some invasive control, overseeding. It's got Canada goldenrod. You know, at some point we're going to have to address that. We've plugged in thousands, a couple of thousand. I don't know, Dan, if you have the numbers, but
Yeah, I can get them for you.
but we've plugged in thousands of plugs where the girls have removed the cattails, and they're taking on really nicely. And then one really neat thing that I wanted to mention, I think I emailed you a video of the motion activated camera that we installed by the house. So we wanted to put up an owl nest because we hear great horned owls everywhere. And Mary Lou at the last bird walk told us that we put up a simple laundry basket and kind of retrofit it, then that would work. And Lake Arlington has nesting owls there with such a thing. And so we put up the motion activated camera, and the very first night we had a flying squirrel, which I didn't recognize right away. You know, at first I thought, oh, it's just a squirrel, but it just seemed very small and it was sort of flittery, and I didn't put two and two together until the very next day after I'd thought about it and looked at the video again. And I reached out to Chris Anker from the Cook County Forest Reserves, and he verified that it indeed is a southern flying squirrel, which is really exciting because I had no idea that we have flying squirrels in Prospect Heights around the slough. So this has been really good. I'm excited about that motion activated camera, just even for monitoring and for understanding, you know, what goes on at night and what other wildlife we have out there.
Go ahead.
Where did you put the nest? The
On a
basket.
cottonwood. On an old cottonwood, about 20 feet up, 25
Oh,
feet up.
it's, yeah, 25 feet at least. Chainsaw Lewis put it up. To answer Agnes's question, to date, we put in 2,443 plugs at the slough.
Oh.
Thank you, Seth, for all the auguring. Dana augured too, so between them, we managed to get all those plants in over there. And it's all warrior sedges, which we've been planning for the past year. So we've put in a lot of warrior sedges, and hopefully that'll compete with the cattails and the other invasives.
A lot of those areas where the cattails were remediated over the summer have now been plugged with the warrior sedges. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that. We also have the any results on the test sites of the warrior sedges that the girls
Right,
planted?
so the girls planted lines of like 6 species, so we could see how they tolerate the flooding, if flooding occurs again over the fall or the spring floods, to see how they would stand up to that. And we plan on measuring the rainfall events and see how much underwater they are for how many days, and to see then if they survive that, because unfortunately we've had the slough underwater for, you know, for several days over the last serious rain events. And so we want to find things that can tolerate those conditions. So a couple of the test sites didn't survive, and then a couple of them are doing really well, really well. So we'll see what happens. We'll just keep monitoring. They're all GPSed. Any questions or comments about that?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then let's move on to the District 214 internship program and virtual career nights. So we've had Colin and Felix coming to, so District 214 reached out to us, as you know, well, first Colin and Felix reached out to us, and then we had representatives from District 214 come out and take a tour of the slough and talk about their program. And normally it's a 60-hour internship program, but because of coronavirus, they've reduced it to 30 hours. And so Colin started first, and then Felix had some paperwork that was lagging. And they've been coming on Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings from 8 to 9:30, where we do a lot of education. We take a walk, we talk about ecology and plants and plant ID. And then they've also been participating at our work days. And Colin actually has probably, I think, about 12 hours left. And Felix has about 20. As far as the virtual career night, Dana is going to reach out to them because they asked us to participate in a Zoom presentation, or
If anybody's interested in participating, please jump in. Let us know.
I'm not sure what the format is yet.
It's all virtual and Zoom, so
right, but what we're supposed to be, is it
yeah, we
going
got
to
to find out.
Right, so we have to reach out to the coordinators. I think it's
Do you have the date of it?
I believe it's October 22nd, if memory serves. Not sure I can pull it up real easily. Whoops.
And we're supposed to talk about careers in
environmental sciences. And that's what I'm not clear about, if they just wanted us to talk about our organization and trying to encourage students into being interested about nature, or if it's specifically careers in environmental sciences, which I think would be a little bit more difficult for us.
I think we lag a little bit in that knowledge, don't we?
Exactly. Right.
None of us have a degree in environmental science.
Well,
No.
First you go to radiology school, and then
Right.
I'll try to look it up.
there it is right there.
Kathy Wicks, yeah. October 20th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Read it.
I mean, the detailed information will be emailed to you, which it hasn't been yet. And it's basically a moderated panel discussions with professionals, university and college partners, students and staff. And it's gonna run for 45 minutes. And discussion questions will be given to participants in advance, but they haven't really set it up for us yet. We've said that we would, you know, think about participating, and they have not forwarded anything more than that. So we really need to reach out to them soon to find out what the format is, because there's not much time left, I guess 12 days away. As soon as we get something, we'll email it to you. It would be nice if
Well, does anybody in our group feel qualified to talk about careers in environmental science?
In our group?
Yeah.
I mean, not.
She'd probably be the closest thing we have.
I mean, I think, yeah, I think I could do it.
Okay.
I mean, not every single career in environmental sciences, but through talking with the interns and then just sort of being engaged in the more in arboretum and all of these things. I mean, I have a sort of an idea about about the different careers along the way, as far as ecologist versus biologist versus technician versus more of a policy forming career or policy and interested career. So I think I would have to definitely research and reach out to friends and talk about that if that's what they specifically wanted.
Even
But
if you
wouldn't-
just share your passion.
That might be enough, just to share passion. So maybe that's it.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to participate to at least make the students aware of our organization and they could come out and work with us? I mean, how many of our interns have changed their careers after working with us and they want to go into natural areas management? It can kind of give them a feel of hands-on.
What's not clear from this email is whether we're there to talk about career opportunities in ecological restoration or talk about the possibility of internships.
Yeah, or just talk about our organization
Yeah.
and why you should go into environmental sciences in the first place. So
So
that's
there's really no definition on that at this point. It just, all the email says is we'll be getting information soon. So
right. So we really need to, call her and have a conversation rather than the email exchange, I think. As soon as we find out anything, we'll let you know.
All right.
So we can participate to whatever, so we can all participate if we want to. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is path maintenance at the work sites. So I saw an email that Morava was a little overgrown and that if we want to maintain it more as an aesthetic kind of a path versus sort of letting it go naturally as it is in the fall typically. And I guess I think we came across this last year too, that it's just the resources that we have to be able to do that with the paths. I don't know. I haven't been out there recently. I don't know how bad it is at Morava.
It's not horrible. I was just there. But I mean, the grass is growing from the sides. That's basically the problem I see with most of the paths at our sites. It's not the path itself necessarily.
yeah.
It's like the growth in from the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually a pretty quick trim with the brush cutter. I'd be happy to do it, but I'm going to be incapacitated for a couple of weeks, so I'm out of the loop for the few weeks.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I went there the other day, on Monday, and I just took a hedge trimmer and so people can walk by so the plants aren't, brushing against you. So you can two people can walk by it now. It was pretty much single file in some of the lower areas there, but it doesn't take much, the hedge clippers to just trim back a little bit so people can walk through there. But
I think just weed whacking the ground too. So like some of the weeds grow in along the sides of the borders of our trails too, and just weed whacking that is, it just trims it down to the ground. And
You just have to be careful because some of those plants, like if they're outside of the path, they don't like being mowed down, so they're not going to come back. It's kind of like Canada goldenrod control. If you cut it down while it's still in a growth period, you're basically killing the plant or setting it back sometimes. We just have to be careful of what, I guess is what I'm saying. Like be very conscious of what we're cutting down.
We do have, if anybody is interested in going out, we do have the electric bushwhacker Anybody can take that anytime they want, and that it works really well. So for, up and doing the vertical trimming on the path.
Well, I'd be happy to do it, but I'm a little, Peter, are you saying it's already done?
Yes.
At Marava, right?
Yeah, at Morava. Yeah, it's not done. What I did is just the overhanging plants so people could walk through there. I didn't get anything close to the ground, growing in from the borders. It really was not obstructing too many people. It doesn't look good, but that was kind of my thought, with more of a maintained look in there. But it is trimmed back now so people can walk through there, because there was a lot of overhanging plants, especially the native plants and the pokeweed and things like that. So that's been taken care of.
Thank you, Peter.
Sort of loosely related to this, and I ran this idea by Agnes. I think at some point in time, I think it would be good for the commissioners to walk, like, for instance, the slough, and maybe Marava too, and take a look at the snags. There's a lot of snags there that really should probably, they're bordering on being widowmakers. And so I think we really need to make some decisions there about what needs to come down over the winter. So if anybody's interested in getting together to do that.
And if it's something that we can do ourselves, or that we
Right,
need
or
help
we
from
need-
Public Works.
Right,
the
or Park District, right.
Sure.
No, we could do that at our work days too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to make sure I understand, Peter, are you saying that probably somebody should go out there and do a little more trimming up, or it's done?
I believe it's done for right now, really. It's just a matter of what degree of maintenance you want on those paths. I mean, you can make it look a lot better if you trim back the weeds and the grass that are encroaching from the sides. It'll make it look better for sure. You don't want to go over the border though either, and like Agnes was saying, and trim some of those plants. But the overhanging, they're easily taken care of with just a hand hedge trimmer. It didn't take long at all. And I was very careful not to go too far in. And I was surprised I found one of our signs. I didn't even know it was there. It was so overgrown. But that one I did cut back so you could see one of our small signs that was hidden. But, there's so much to be done out there. It's just, do we want, a more maintained, manicured look for the paths and the nature preserve? That was part of my report. It's not easy. We don't have the staff to do that.
I think at that particular location, having a better manicured trail is probably, in my opinion, would be more desirable. Like the trail at the slough, it's a little more, it's got a different feel to it. It is kind of more, you're kind of hunkered down in there. But with the traffic that goes through there, from the recreation center, the tennis courts and all that stuff, we got the really nice signage over there. I think if it was more manicured, in my opinion, it would look better. We also have to deal with the depository for debris there, and so any way we can dress things up would be helpful.
I'll try to get out there this weekend and see, and then Seth, if I'll let you know, and maybe we can go like next Wednesday.
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Next is the seed greenhouse program. I've started to put seeds into their little containers to be stratified for the winter. We had, unfortunately, some baptisia that sprouted. I'm not sure what to do with that because I've never come across that. I mean, it germinated a little too soon and it's fall. So I think I'm gonna cover it up because it's a really important plant. I'm gonna cover it up with maybe some straw and see at least half of it, and then half of it just leave it. I think I may have pushed it a little because it had the weevils inside, and so I put in a bucket of water and I washed the weevils out, and I think just that soaking stimulated it. So we have baptisia that just germinated everywhere. So we'll see. I'll try to. Oops. But I didn't put all the seed out because I'm very wary of putting all the seed, all the eggs in your basket or hens in your basket, whatever. So I have half still of baptisia seeds that are going to wait until winter, and then we'll see. So either way, we're going to have baptisia. It's fine. I guess that's all. I don't have a complete weight yet. The seed isn't processed. Maybe at the next work day, I'll bring out those processing trays to the Prairie.
We also have a big bag of seed that was donated from John's acquaintance there at the lake, who does restoration work out in, where's it, McHenry or Lake? Lake, I think, isn't it?
No, it was south. I don't know what county it is.
But
We have a
regardless,
bag of
we have
seed there.
a real big bag of quite diverse seeding. So the plan for that is to go down
Right.
at the ComEd Prairie.
And we're not done yet. We still have seed to collect, and then I'll just do an annual purchase of that little blue stem that I do every year, so we can augment the seeds with that. But I think we're doing good. We're probably gonna have less seed collected this year than other years, but I think it's okay. At where we're at.
What seed, Agnes, are you really looking for? I
Indian
have sometime I can get out and do some collecting.
Well, so when the Prairie dock is ready, that would be a good one. It's not ready yet. There's lobelia sort of by the house, but I was thinking of having a seed collection day, maybe next Wednesday do that, because as you know, the cardinal flower wasn't ready yet. And there's a lot of woodland grasses now that are already along the trail, and gentians, everything all around here at the slough. But
Indian grass.
Indian grass, but that's the Poplar Creek. I mean, hopefully for those 2 days, we're gonna get a lot of Indian grass.
Big blue stem.
The blue stem, just a touch, because it can be a little aggressive.
big.
It's big. It's definitely big and tall.
Need one of those parasitic wood betonies to control it.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of penstemon this year, but that's okay too. We have penstemon everywhere. Woodland grasses, I mean, I've been trying to collect those too to reintroduce into the slough, where we're going to take out buckthorn this winter. Because we really need to get fuel around the slough. This has been like 3 years that we haven't been able to effectively burn like we'd like to burn the slough.
I think you could add to your slough report that this year there's a great deal more grasses that
It is, yeah.
flow through the slough.
I mean, it's,
So I'm hoping that I think it's going to make a big difference in how it burns this year.
Right.
So.
But there's certain patches that are just buckthorn that are, that don't have any grasses. So I'm trying to work on that. And then of course, Telly Park, we're going to try to give them some grasses too, because of that large area that they cleared out this year. So, and certain other areas need things too. But I think one of the things with the Canada goldenrod control that we've been doing, and so other volunteer organizations, so at Poplar Creek, they do this, and Stephen Packard wrote a whole paper about this, that once you take out that Canada goldenrod or try to set it back, then overseeding is very important too. So reintroducing seed on top of that area where the goldenrod was taken out. And I even reached out to Rick McCandless, and he said they've been very successful, that early on in their restorations, they also had a lot of Canada goldenrod, but they just kept burning and seeding and trying to cut those seed heads off, and paid off. They hardly have any now, so. It's just a part of that whole plant succession. It takes a few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole west end of the Prairie, for instance, is almost all solid grass leaf goldenrod. There were very, very few invasions of the Canada goldenrod.
And if you think back, I mean, we had so much Canada thistle there and other things, and clover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've dealt with so many things. Teasel at the remnant, that's all gone. So I think we're doing good. It's just it takes a little time, and we definitely need to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
But if I think of something, Peter, I'll let you know. I'll email you if there's like
Sure,
a
sure.
specific thing, because there's little pockets that I can't get to sometimes. Like I can even think right now of the spotted Joe Pye weed right outside the window that I've been meaning to collect for 3 days. So if I can think of other pockets, I'll let you know. And it's just that, it's a 10-minute seed collection of that particular species right there. That's not enough for a work day, but if someone can get out there and get it, then that would be good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in my area over here. But that's
If you have grasses,
Yeah,
cytogramma,
okay.
little blue stem, Indian grass.
Prairie dropseed.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Grasses.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's move on to the Poplar Creek Prairie seed collection days and seed processing event. So we have been invited this weekend to go to Poplar Creek, and Dana just sent out the notice today. We've had a response from a couple of volunteers that can participate. I've taken the day off from work. So Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 12, anytime anybody can come out and help. And we're going after Indian grass for the most part. I'll have those really nice like kangaroo bags and all the stuff. So if anybody's able to make it, that's great. Otherwise, yeah, we'll try to collect as much as we can. There may be another opportunity in the future too.
All right, let's move on. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend too. It'll be nice to be out.
Beautiful. Yeah, 70s, sunny, gorgeous weekend in the Prairie.
Yeah, it's such a magnificent place to be. It's just crazy. Okay, annual seed processing. Agnes, have you started processing any seed yet?
We've started processing seed with the interns, and Seth has processed seed. I think Seth. Yeah, Seth. And I processed seed, and we're a little behind. So I think the next couple of work days, probably I'll really bring out the baskets and maybe do a little bit of that. And then I think that we can, we'll be fine. We'll be fine with the seed processing.
Are we scheduling anything officially in November like we normally do, or how are we managing that?
The only thing we were going to do officially was to present the golden loppers. And so how that gets done is a subject of debate. We know who we're going to give it to. It's just a matter of how does that work. So.
But what about the actual seed processing? Because that does have to occur, correct?
Well, but that's happened. That was the plan. It's already happening.
So it's slowly going to happen
It
over
slowly
time.
happens over time. So as people have time, they just come over and process seed, just like we did when COVID first started, where we had a list of assignments, and if you had time, you just went out and did it, and then let us know. Same deal. We'll set up seed processing here in Agnes. Will put out seed, and if we know that somebody's going to come, then we'll say, okay, here's the seed. Go ahead and process it. She's working with the interns and Seth now to already start. As soon as I have time, I'll go out and process. So it's kind of a guerrilla seed processing.
When are you going to send out that communication?
It's already been talked about.
But not to our volunteers, whereas I think you're talking mostly about like us, not like sending it out to volunteers. Hey guys, when you have.
Yeah, I haven't done that now that I think about it. So.
But I mean, that's what I'm talking about, having it structured. So, because I'm sure the volunteers will be looking for it.
Sure. I'll when we're done tonight, we'll put it together and then write it up. And I would say rather than keep bombarding people with email, we'll talk about it with whoever's going to the seed collection, and then send it out on Monday to who'd ever be interested.
Okay.
And what days? Okay. Next on the agenda is the treasury report and 2020 budget. I don't think anything's changed since last month. John? I mean, we haven't.
Nothing's changed. We have no money, so we haven't spent anything, and nothing else has come in. So
Okay, and then so next city civic meetings and PHNRC representation.
I attended the September Prospect Heights Park District Board meeting. It was under an hour. They did speak about Muir Park and the townhouse development. Residents are upset, but they're going ahead with their plans. They did mention their next board meeting, October 27th. They were thinking of having it at the Old Orchard Country Club so that they could meet in person. But that hasn't been decided yet. And I keep monitoring their website to see when their minutes are posted so I could have more accurate information to tell you. I have attended city council meetings. I hope to attend the one coming up this Monday night, which is the 11th or 12th, the 12th.
Thank you, Jill.
nice, yeah.
And none of the other committees are meeting, right?
Correct. That's all that I'm aware of.
Hmm.
I was interested, so I know I talked about it offline about us meeting in person, but we're recorded, so it's not like we could just meet in an open space. Oh, and at our next meeting, I will have a listing of 2021 meeting dates for consideration.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next month is our last meeting of the year, too, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Announcements to the public.
Questions, comments, anything? No.
Peter, any comments? Patrick?
Nope.
Okay. I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
A second.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.